once you are there, she will take personal care of you and she will show you around. So I think it's great. Now the question is how to get those prizes. The question is very simple. Just speak English as much as you can. So we'll choose two of you and you will be rewarded. Okay? Does it make sense? Good. Thank you. Now let's turn to Natalia. Natalia, can you please start the meeting?
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia Hastings. I live in London. I'm very, very happy to see all of you today. And today is a wonderful weather in London. I heard that you also have, in some parts of Russia, very beautiful weather as well. So, but as we are all here at home at the moment, I think it's a great possibility to all of us to speak, to ask each other different questions. And I will be very, very happy to share with you my experience because when I moved to London first time 2 years ago, it was difficult for me to understand how the market works, and I didn't know anyone here who could help me to find a job. And many people whom I was meeting here were telling me that no, it's not possible, but now I know 100% that it's possible, and today I will be very happy to share with you my experience and also tell you a little bit my story, how I got to hospitality and also how I managed to get my career. I'm working as a hotel manager in Holiday Inn Kensington Forum. It's the biggest Holiday Inn in Europe. It has 906 rooms. And we have 92% of occupancy annually. So it's a very, very big operation and very interesting experience.
Good. Well, can we start with the first question, and maybe the people who joined us will discuss it and come up with the answers. So, Natalia, I'm sure that you have some kind of secret how to get from Sochi to London, and well, in 5 minutes we're going to learn it, right?
Absolutely.
Good. But right now, I'm going to divide you in little groups, 5, 6 people in one group, and I'd like you to answer very simple question. How can a man, well, let's be specific, a girl or a gentleman, move from Sochi to London and have their kind of residency permit, not like a tourist, okay? The question is very simple. You buy the tourist visa, you go there. No, that's very simple. Can you figure out how a Sochi citizen can turn into a London citizen? Right? Do you follow my question? Do you get it?
Get married.
You have to be a politician.
Yeah. Do not answer, please. I'll give you 5 minutes to discuss it in little groups, and you will be divided by the program into those groups, and well, as soon as the discussion time 5 minutes is over, you will return to the main room and we'll listen to your ideas, and we'll listen to the real life story by Natalia, because she knows how to answer this question. So accept my invitation, go and discuss in little groups, please.
Some versions like a student visa, bride visa, and maybe if you are like some scientist with unique skills, you can apply. But this one is it's work for USA. I'm not sure if it's work for United Kingdom. What do you think?
I think you can steal drugs and just run away with them and with money.
Good.
And never come back. Or maybe you're just a rich person, just someone really, really rich.
Also, before that was some invest visas, like for Chichvarkin, for some rich guys.
Yes.
But now they all have the problems with that kind of visas. Yeah, we know Abramovich was like robbed. Got rid of that visa and went to Israel, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yes, in politics, well, you will have a bigger chance to get your visa.
Mm-hmm.
What
What
about
do
to
you
get
think?
married?
Yeah. Bride
It was the first
visa.
version.
Why not, yeah? A man marries a woman, English lady, yeah? Like that.
Oh, why not?
Why not? But never happens, yeah?
You can choose very old. It's
Not in the
break out
real
after. Artyom, you will be answered because you are the only man in our team. You
At least one person from the group to announce your ideas. So what's the plan? How to escape from Sochi to London? Starting from group number 1, there was who? Annie, Denis, Dmitry, Irina, Nelly. Who will speak on behalf of your group?
Dmitry.
Yes. We'll take turns. Next time will be somebody else. Please, Dmitry, we're ready to listen to you.
Well, my idea was really simple. That I think that it's easier for ladies to go to London to get married and to find out the job there and to find out the citizenship. So to get the citizenship. Then for men, so we are in a different way, work in a different way thinking. So I think it's easier for ladies to go to London. That was my.
Good.
We have the same chances. It doesn't matter, lady or gentleman. There are
That's
many.
my point as well.
It's a stereotype about ladies.
Yeah, there are many gays here in London.
Yes, we can think a lot, but there is statistics, and that's it. I don't think there are a lot of men in Britain.
Ladies are more active than men. That's why we have this kind of statistic.
Well, I think just men abroad, they just love Russian women. That's the point.
One of my students some years ago deliberately went to London to find out not only a job, but find out a man to get married to him. But after 3 years, she came back with nothing.
She was disappointed with British.
Yeah, she didn't like British people. She didn't like London. She didn't like the country itself. So a lot of different problems. But she came back absolutely disappointed and upset.
I think it's the problem of high expectations.
Maybe.
Yes, extra, over high expectation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
London is not for English people. There are too many foreigners.
Yes, I know. I have heard a joke that there are only 45% native British in London. The rest of the people are Iranians and other from India and other countries.
Immigrants.
But it's not only in London right now. It's everywhere like that.
Are there any groups?
There is one thing. The thing is about the picture on the background. The picture is there is a couple. I think it's her picture and maybe the picture of her husband. That's why maybe the real reason is just getting married, because it cannot be job offer, because she said that when she came she was trying to find job. And because of that fact, that means that there was no job offer. And as for other cases, it's rather complicated, like to move there, as I see it.
Right. Natalia, maybe you can let us all know what really happened.
We have a version also.
Oh, yes, Artyom, I'm sorry. Yes,
We have a
Artyom.
version that she could steal 2 kilograms of cocaine from drug dealers and just went to London, and she was lucky to be there right now.
It was
a bad idea.
It's
Totally awful
I think
idea.
it's, you know, you can risk it, you know, one life.
Artyom
Why
likes
not?
playing with fire.
Well, I have another variant.
Yeah.
You can invest money. You can get an account if you have if you put at least 300,000 pounds, and then you can invest up to £1 million, and then you can apply for the green card. Or you maybe even
do they
automatically
still
get a
do
green
it?
card.
You sure?
Yes, yes. I checked.
Wow.
I'm saving money.
I can tell you what. If you have £1 million, so you shouldn't go to London. You may be a king in Russia.
I agree with you.
And to travel to London, yes, as much as you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm already king in
And
Sochi.
there is another thing, you shouldn't try to find a job. Like that means having such an amount of money, that means that you have some other source of income. And finding job, what for? There is no point.
This is the point. What kind of job do we need in London?
Okay, shall we listen to Natalia? So what happened to you, darling?
There were so many ideas, actually. I didn't even think about them before, but very good ideas. To be honest, there's one more way. You can come and study in London, not in London, in UK.
I was gonna say that. I actually wrote it down here.
But you are absolutely right. The reason why I got here is because I got married. I got married 2 years ago, and in 2018, I moved to London. I never had any desire to move to London and to change Russia to move to UK, because I had very good career in Russia. I started to work from reception at the Corinthia hotels in Petersburg in Russia. So I spent there 10 years, and I grew up from receptionist to the position of resident manager there. After that, I moved to Sochi, to the beautiful city, where I spent 3.5 years, and I was a general manager, as Andrei said, of Parking by Radisson by Sochi Hotel. And to be honest, I would not like to move from Russia, but yes, because I fell in love. I moved to London, and yes, I had a very big plus because I had resident permit. And because I had resident permit, it became easier for me. Although to find job in London is not so easy, not because I'm Russian, but because there are so many competitors, there are so many candidates for one position who apply for each position. That's why it becomes so complicated. When I was in London in 2014, before I moved to Sochi, I tried to look for a job. And I got different interviews. So I was meeting with in different hotels with general managers, with managing directors. And actually once I almost got a job, but as soon as they found out that I don't have a work permit, obviously they did not start everything to get a work permit for me. So yes, work permit is a very, very big thing. However, it's in my case. In some of my friends' cases here in UK, for example, a friend of mine who moved here, she found a job. She moved here because her husband studied. And when she moved here, she found a job with a real estate agency who basically applied for the work permit for her. And she's still working here and working here already for 3 years. So it all depends. Everyone has different story, but my story, yes, I went to London in 2018 because of my marriage. However, before that, in 2012, which is very interesting, and I will be very happy to share with you my story. In 2012, on the 12th of December, I went to the shop, which is called Monsoon. It's a famous British shop. This shop was in Galleria in St. Petersburg. And it was 2 hours before the closure of the shop when I was buying something, and I was given a lottery ticket. And when I opened this lottery ticket, I have won a trip to London. It was the first time in my life when I won something. So it was incredible. It was, I remember right now, like, I don't know, like a daylight. It was on the 12th of December, 2012. I have never met my future husband before. I haven't even visited London before. So this was the reason for me to go to London. And that's, I think, how everything started in my life.
So your trip to London was written in the God's book.
For sure. I also believe so. Absolutely, Dmitry.
Now it's time. If you have any questions, please, we'll let you ask a couple of questions before we proceed. Natalia is here to answer your questions. So we're talking about London.
So Natasha, you said that you didn't have a job when you came to London 2 years ago, but what kind of job did you find first when you started working there?
I found the same job where I am at the moment. So I was looking for a job for half a year. I was applying on Caterer. Caterer.com is one of the very famous sites here, job sites in UK. So I was applying on each position which was open there. And also
Cater.com?
Caterer.com, exactly.
Can you text it, please? Can you type it, please?
Sure.
Cater.com. Is it connected with catering business?
No, it's actually there are different types of job there. It's not only catering business, but for me, as I'm from hospitality, it was the main site. It's also, there is another one. I will type it here, Indeed.com. There are two main sites where I was looking for a job. However, I was also looking for headhunters, and finally I found a job through the headhunter, because they know how to sell the person, and basically they help me very much. And in half a year, sorry.
Is it expensive? Like, do you have to pay those headhunters to find a
You're
job
not
for you?
paying. No, you're not paying anything. As a job seeker, you are not paying for anything, but the employer, yes, they are going to pay for you. It depends how much they're paying.
Okay.
So basically, the story was that I went to one of their interviews and I met the general manager there. I was applying for the position of the hotel manager. Of course, not the general manager, because I didn't have any experience in UK. So when I met with him and I had an interview, and he really liked me, he liked the sense of humor, he liked how I was describing my experience, and I was one of the third last candidates. However, he has chosen another person because I didn't have so-called London experience. That's what they were looking for. I came only with Russian experience, with nothing else. However, he liked me so much that he recommended me actually to the colleague of his who was working in the headhunter company. With this colleague I met, and she proposed me to this position in the Holiday Inn Kensington Forum. I remember it was in January, almost 1 year and 2 months ago. So I came there, and the general manager was the person who was looking for somebody new. And in this hotel, they never had a lady as a hotel manager. And in UK at the moment, like in any other countries, they are actually trying to give ladies a lot of opportunities and possibilities, because this is the country of men, because there are banks here there are lawyers, firms, everywhere, there are men everywhere. So even when I'm coming to the morning meeting at the moment, almost all the head of departments are men, which is different to Russia. When you come in Russian morning meeting, you have a lot of ladies. So basically, we had a very nice connection in terms of professionalism. And I think one of the things which helped me to find the job also was that I was not only answering on his questions, I was asking him correct questions to show him through my questions that I know how the hospitality business works. And that is why he actually was interested in me, and he gave me a chance. But it was on the first interview. They asked me also to prepare presentation about the hotel, and I had to spend 1 month preparing for this, because I had to make the whole SWOT analysis, all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the hotel, although I never worked there, and also to show them what I can bring to the company, what I will be doing in the next 3 years, and after that in another 3 years. And I had to present this presentation to the board of directors of the company.
Okay, so I'm sorry for interrupting. So Natasha, please tell me, what about any certificates, any examination certificates, so which are required if you work in London? So I mean IELTS or something like that.
No, there was nothing asked from me, absolutely nothing. However, when I started my work, I was sent to a special course to study health and safety at work, which is very, very important here. Okay. Because Health and Safety at Work Act, which was introduced by legislation, is one of the main things which you have to know when you're working. And independently, you work in the hospitality or you work in a construction company, you have to know the law. Like, for example, in Russia, you have to have like safety engineer who knows all these things and he has special education. Here you have to know it yourself. In my industry as well, because it's hospitality, I had to know food, health and safety. So I had to pass 3 levels for food health and safety. I also volunteered to be first aider. So now I'm a professional first aider, not only at work, but also in UK. And yeah, these are the main, I would say, courses which I passed.
I see. I see. Thank
But
you.
if you can speak English, no one will be asking you regarding your certificate in English. As soon as you can speak without fluently speak, that's the main thing that proves already that you have very good level of English.
Mm-hmm. Where did you improve your English, by the way?
When I worked, well, the main thing, I improved my English actually here, because I thought that I know English very well. But when I started to work and to work with people who are basically British, who live here and who were born here, this is the best, I would say, actually practice. You need to speak with native language speakers, because otherwise it's very difficult. Pronunciation, also knowledge of different words, because I studied classic English, and here you know a lot of modern words as well, and different.
Is your husband next to you right now?
Slang language, yeah.
Sorry?
Is your husband next to you right now?
Not at the moment, no.
So here in British, yeah.
Like listening to her, yeah. Checking.
No, the thing is that he always believed in me, and sometimes I was meeting some girls here, and I was asking them, girls, how can I find job? And they were telling me, no, it's impossible, you will not find job. But to be honest, it's all, you know, it depends. If you believe in yourself, if you have good knowledge, if you have good experience in education, you can find job. But in the hotel where I work, we have 190 employees, and I'm the only Russian person.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you
Just
very much.
the best place to practice your English.
Nice story.
Exactly, yes.
Right, guys? Yes, can we switch to the other questions so you can discuss it in your small groups? I believe this time I'll give you a little more time, like 8 minutes to go. The question is, what type of work do you think you can do better than Londoners in London? So you got that lucky ticket.
Drink vodka.
No, keep it to your group. Yes, all these crazy ideas with
I would
cocaine.
argue.
Yeah, discuss it. So I'm going to distribute you in little groups. You have 8 minutes to discuss, and after it's over, I'll ask each group to share your brilliant ideas with us. Okay, join the invitations, please.
Okay.
Well, what do you do better? Physical work or mental work?
I don't know. I think I'm just normal, you know, nothing very special about me actually. So yeah, so that is why I say this question puzzled me a lot, because I don't see anything. Yeah, so maybe you.
Kumar, what do you think?
I don't smoke. I don't smoke.
What I think. Yeah, Nelly, continue, please. Sorry.
So the question
you were
is,
saying something.
Yeah, what do you do better than Londoners? What do you think about yourself?
So is that for me or okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I think guide for tourists, for London tourists. So, London and special places, museum.
Olga, you think you can do a better guide than a Londoner?
Yes.
Guide. So have you ever done this work here in Russia?
Repeat once more.
Have you ever done this work in Russia?
A little.
A little. Okay. Well, thank you. Kumar, what about you? What do you think about the work in London? What can you do better?
Sure. Actually, I'm already in Russia working as a business development specialist, and moreover, I have acute knowledge of a couple of line of businesses which I think can be done better in London without any problem. And moreover, I do have, I would say, my relatives living over there. My brother lives over there, so we already are in business in London.
Well, so you may be a businessman, yeah?
Yes, my family is into business, and we are all businessmen.
I see. Thank you very much. So, Mary, what about
So
you?
what about you?
Me? Well, actually, I'm a teacher, so I can teach Russian in London better than any Londoner.
Great.
Sorry?
Do you teach Russian?
Of course, I can teach Russian too. So I've got this experience in my life. I've taught Russian to different people from different countries, and I know it's difficult, by the way, but I can do it actually. So, Mary, what about you? What can you say?
Crafting, maybe. Or
Painting.
painting, creating something, painting like
Media.
prints on T-shirts or like
Handworking, yeah?
Hmm?
Handicraft, yeah?
Handicraft, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, she's
Handmade.
good at media. She's good at media also, apart from painting.
By the way, yeah, by the way. So, well, to sum up, I can tell you that we have 4 different professions here better than Londoners. To be a guy, to be a businessman, to be a teacher, and to be a handicrafter, yeah? So, maybe any more ideas? What do you think?
Well, we can be better Londoner than Londoners.
So, we are the best at where we are right now, I think.
I guess there is one thing that London actually, as I don't remember the name who said this, but that is actually true, that the percentage of the native people living in London is less in comparison to all the international people.
I know what I can be better in London. You know, it's maybe I'm more tolerant than them.
Or more tolerant.
Yeah, because well, actually, in London, if you take it separately from the whole of the UK, so they are very intolerant of foreigners nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose that's because of the coronavirus pandemic right now.
Not quite. Not quite.
Maybe it was better some years ago, but nowadays that's really a big problem right now. To be tolerant in those hard circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still.
Well, Olga, you said something, but you were saying something we didn't hear. Could you please repeat it again, Olga?
More ideas. I can work as a realtor because I like it and I can do it well everywhere. In Sochi, in London.
Let's discuss it. Now you're fine. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are ready to listen to your crazy ideas. I hope you had fun, right? Okay, let's start with group number 1. Who's speaking on our behalf, and what did you decide?
I think it was our group.
Yeah,
yes?
Go ahead, author. Yes.
Yuri suggested a good idea to become a tour guide for Russian tourists. It's, I think, the most obvious and easiest.
Excuse me, we can hear the sounds of your kitchen. Could you please turn off your mics, please? Yes, and we'll turn on when you are about to speak. Yeah, author, once again.
Yuri suggested a good idea to become a tour guide for Russian tourists in London. So,
in this
our
case, you have, sorry.
Yes.
In this case, you have to know English history, England history very well.
Yeah.
It takes time.
I think it's not impossible to learn something if you want to stay in London.
Yeah, but it's easier than to learn Russian language. So in this case, you are better than London citizens.
Excellent idea. Excellent idea. Now, if I'm allowed to intrude, there is an English, Russian guide for New York. Denis сам себе сказал. I believe Nelly knows him well, and he is extremely popular, and he is the only way to see New York now, because all the official media is closed, and he is exceptionally popular guy.
My idea was also about being a tour guide. Because I'm working as a tour guide, I think I could be like be there very good and best.
There is a Russian-speaking tour guide, Konstantin Pinayev. Natalia, have you heard of him? Konstantin Pinayev. Well, he is extremely popular blogger, and he gives exceptional London tours.
Does he have a hat like
Yes,
cylinder?
yes.
Yeah, I know him.
Yes, he's a very influential guy. All right. Any other
Are
ideas?
you going to ask the participants of the second group? I want to give idea.
Yeah.
May I?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So there are many opportunities, I guess, for everyone. But I'm sure if I go to London, I will find a job like teacher of dancing, of Caucasian dances, because I've been dancing for more than 15 years when I lived in another city in Maikop, in Edgar Republic, if you know. So, and I know there is Caucasian community living in London. And I'm sure if I won't be a tour guide or a teacher of English or a teacher of Russian, at least I will be a teacher of dancing, of Caucasian dancing.
Teacher of Russian dance?
No Russian.
Caucasian. It's okay.
Circassian. Yes, because there is a Caucasian diaspora living there, community, and I'm sure I will find a job at least there. So I will find something to do.
I have a better
and you
idea.
Can join me.
I have a better idea.
Okay, Alex.
Okay.
We can be a cooperative drinking companion. We have skills for this.
To Russia
Every
or to
Russian.
British?
Artyom, you are lying now.
No,
about this. You.
I'm not.
How does it work?
I think that people in Great Britain, they drink more than Russian people.
But they are not cooperative. We are cooperative.
Drink more beer,
but
not
true. It's true. But not
oh, not only.
We have a singer in our group, by the way. She's drunk and she can sing. She was singing to us.
Artyom,
I don't drink at all.
I'm not sure that they will pay you for your company.
Guys, just a quick fact. Russia the people of Russia, they no longer are the top drinkers. It's the Germans and the French.
Yes.
Russia has taken the third position.
Because we are late with Corona, so we're of the top.
So the top position is being held by Germans. Thereafter, it would be French, and then it would be Russians now.
But it considers drinking beer in liters, or it's what is taken into account, the amount of alcohol.
How do they even count it?
Because we drink less, but we drink 40 degrees. We drink vodka, for example. They drink beer. Whole Europe, Germany.
It's the same quality. It's the same quantity. Yes.
And also they are drinking outside, but Russian can get the 12 of vodka and sit in the kitchen with a good company, and nobody else will know.
Can we continue with the list of the jobs? Okay. Yeah.
I say something.
Who's next?
May I say something?
Natalie from sorry.
Ladies first.
Ladies first, okay.
Natalie, could you present?
Okay, yeah, we've got a list of 5 jobs. We can
please read them aloud.
Okay, so Russian teacher, the teacher of Russian language.
Language is second language. Russian is second language.
Yeah, Russian as second language. Also in international schools, I have known that teachers abroad. Also hospitality, like a Russian speaker, like our speaker Natalia. Also, we are thinking that Russian engineers could sometimes be better than Londoners. Elena saying that financial consulting, working with the international and Russian companies, it would be so Russian financial
I would say that Russian financial experience would be useful for international company in Britain.
Yeah. And the last thing, we think Russian ballet, dance, and musicians sometimes could be better than Londoners.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as for me, I could definitely be a Russian folk singer. Not only in London, but pretty much everywhere where a lot of Russian-speaking people live, because I know that it's very in demand among Russian-speaking people, yeah, who live abroad. And so, yeah, that's what we spoke about in our group.
Yulia, let's try. Only sing.
No.
Please, you sing for us and please sing for everyone now.
Leonid, stop drinking, Leonid.
Next time, when the quarantine is over and we're all together, yeah, I can sing.
I have a
can
suggestion.
give you like the whole concert.
Yulia, you can hold us a separate meeting where you can teach us the singing skills, especially Leonid. Okay?
Good idea.
Yes. Group
That's
number
my
3.
Leonid, yeah.
Yes, group number 3. Your suggestions? Do you have something new compared to the already mentioned positions? No suggestions. Group number 4, 5, the rest?
Yeah, we are group number 4. May I say something about it? Okay.
Sure.
Well, actually, we have discussed the same positions as already were said. Well, for example, a Russian teacher would be a nice job for any one of us. Well, a businessman could be really nice work. We do business better than Londoners, absolutely, definitely. Well, talking about guide, one of us wanted to be a guide, and it would be a nice work there, because really Russian people go there and they need Russian-speaking guide too. And one of the ladies suggested to be a handicrafter. She could make something with their hands and sell it in different handicrafting shops, and it will be nice work, I suppose. That's all our ideas.
Okay. Excellent.
I can say one more.
Sure.
Well, I think that the food in England is terrible, and I think it would be nice to to open maybe a Russian cafe, like with Russian food, so we can make many better than Westerners
and borscht,
English, like British people. So, yeah, so that would be a nice thing to do in England.
Okay.
To feed them some good food.
Sounds like a plan. Good job, good job. So do we have any other ideas before we switch back to Natalia, and she will tell us what's rubbish and what will work?
I want to add something. I think it doesn't matter what profession or job you're gonna have and start in England. It is all about just things that you really like to do. And if you really like do I don't know, any job, that means that you can have success in any country, even in England. Just do what you like, and this is, I think, the main thing.
Okay. I thought the main thing is connections. You need to find friends, so they will find you a job.
You are quite like a person, active person, and can easily find many things in common with other people. You will find these connections very quickly, in fact. It's just up to any person. Not to be shy, and just do what you really need to do. That's it.
And do not break the law. Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Natalia, we're back to you. So there is a list of all kind of weird professions. So what do you think is good idea, and what do you think is totally rubbish?
To be honest, I think that all the ideas are great. And to be honest, I believe that our people are very professional, especially if they, like I agree, as if they like what they're doing. There are very, very many professional doctors as well, of course, engineers, and there are many professional people who work here, not in my hotel, but in other places. However, you know, I was a little bit surprised. Maybe I didn't hear, but no one said beauty industry. I have big problems to find somebody to make my manicure. This was a big problem for me. So I found the lady here who is Russian, who is doing my nails. I still didn't manage to find anyone who would do my hair, and that's why I go to Russia every 3 months, so that the lady will do my hair, because I can't find here professionals. And I think in this industry, cosmetologists, everything around beauty industry, we are much more professional than here in UK. It's number one. Also doctors as well. For example, I still did not manage to find my doctors here who I would trust and who would recommend me something what would help me if I have an issue. So I go to Russia for this as well.
Natalia, I can recommend you the Russian cosmetologist. She is in Cyprus, but you can cheaper go there. Yeah, and she is one of the top because she is Russian. She can do everything. when we lived back in Cyprus, she was my I don't know saver.
Yeah. You know, but problem is everywhere. Like in the United States, I've got friends who live there, and like 1 month ago, my friend went to a spa shop, and they made a manicure, and all her nails were like bloody. And the thing is that it's really great problem, and it's about Spain, it's about England, the United States.
All the countries.
Yes, almost all the countries, because it's too hard to find for women. Very cute.
Girls, what are you talking about? Men do not have those problems, really.
Well, it's problem for every woman who lives abroad, I think, because I've been hearing a lot of stories like this.
There's the question of a gender, not for men, just for women.
But it's a huge problem.
Well, Dmitry, you are not progressive man. There are men who will take care of the other men. We're in a free world.
I think it's a good idea to organize medicine and beauty tourism to St. Petersburg, for example.
Exactly.
From England.
Yeah, that's a nice business idea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for a couple of your personal questions to Natalia. She's ready to answer, right, Natalia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
May I ask you a personal question?
Please continue.
Natalia, how old are you?
I'm 37.
37, yeah, but you look on 25, really.
You're lying, yes. You look much younger. Next question, please.
Okay.
How long did it take for you to get adapted to the international team? Just to get into this workflow, to I don't know, to become comfortable with your colleagues, and to I know, to get adapted to their essence in the first place, and to their problem. I don't know, their local mindset, their local thinking, way of thinking, way of life. How did they perceive you? How did you perceive them? Was there something that you didn't like about their characters, or did you find something strange? Or
as there are many nationalities who work in the hotel where I'm working, it was challenging sometimes to understand a different sense of humor, for example, because British sense of humor I still don't get, and I don't like it, to be honest. But at least I'm trying. Different culture is interesting to work with different cultures, because there are Indians here, there are French, Italian, Spanish, and everyone has its own way how they work and how they think. Also here in UK, you need to be very careful about person rights. So everyone should be very much respected, and everyone actually is the same. So to this, in Russia, for example, me being the general manager before, I could say, guys, we do this, that's how I said, and we continue, that's it. I don't want to hear anything anymore. Sometimes I had to say like this, because this is how it can work sometimes. Here you cannot say like this. You have to be very, how to say,
Polite.
you need to hear other view. You need to basically, you can't be very like hard with the person. Otherwise, there are different unions here as well. And people have rights. Sometimes at job, for example, we had a few employees who were having their sick leave because of stress at work. So in Russia, you wouldn't have somebody stressed at work, being at home, fully paid. Here you can. So there are different ways where I like to get adapted to this. And for me, it was a little bit difficult from the beginning, but I would say it took me 3 months. And after 3 months, I already understood how everything works and got adapted.
They're so sensitive.
Very interesting.
Let me ask you, Natalie, during this idea, if you can't be strong, say directly, you should do it right now. You have to do it rather. You must do something like this. What about results? How do you manage with results if you can't be very strong?
That's the thing. You have to find a way between being strict and finding a way to make people do. This is the whole art here, because sometimes people were telling me I'm too direct. We have also a German person who works with us. He is also quite direct, but British don't like people very direct. They like people who are they will tell you, but you need to understand what they mean. Let's put it this way.
It's called courtesy.
Yeah. So they're very, very, yes, they have a lot of courtesy towards you, and they're very polite people. And even on the streets, when you walk around, everyone will tell you, I'm sorry, if you're going towards another person and you did something like crossed his way, everyone will tell you, I'm sorry. No one will push you anywhere. No one will push you inside the train as well. Everyone will be waiting in the queue. So they're very, very like, cautious towards you. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Can I ask about career question? What was the first salary in London? The first salary.
I can't answer this question. But I can't say my salary because this is the salary which I'm getting right now.
Not exactly, maybe.
Approximately.
Well, you're talking about something.
It's not correct.
We're paying very high taxes. It's up to 35–40% of taxes. So the average hotelier, let's put it this way, not on a line position, but a management position, gets around £2,500 monthly net.
Natalie, can I ask you about being a Russian lady and work in international hotel? Do you have any special behavior around you as you're Russian? I mean, humiliating or something like this?
Never. Never, ever.
They
never.
respect all people, and it doesn't matter which nation are you.
Absolutely. We have different nationalities. We have from Nigeria, from, as I said, from India, from France, from Italy, from Serbia, from we have from Uzbekistan, actually, one lady. We have from Macedonia. We have from Poland, from everywhere. Everyone is treated the same. Never, ever there is any discrimination.
It is difficult to be. It's difficult to believe after some last year stories with Britain, as they a bit afraid Russian people, and I'm glad to hear that it doesn't matter that you are Russian and work equally with all nations in hotel. Yes,
absolutely. My general manager, he is British. He has chosen me, and the head of the managing company, he is from Ireland, and he also decided that I'm the right person for the position. So there is nothing. If you are specialist in your field, if you are a normal, adequate person, if you have normal personality, absolutely, there is nothing towards Russian. Zero, absolutely. Of course, we sometimes joke at work, but no.
Being professional and no problem.
Natasha, I think it's not about the employers, it's about you. You are so kind person, you are so nice, you are so beautiful. That's why everyone is nice to you too.
Thank you very much.
Natalia, I have a question. So, as being a mother, I'm always interested about the way the children are treated in your country. I mean, in the United States. I don't know whether you have your own children or not yet, but I'm sure you see the way people treat the kids and the children. And would you like to, for example, if you still don't have children, would you like to grow them up in Russia or in United States? Sorry, United Kingdom. I know it's a tricky question, but anyway.
It's a very good question. However, like now I compare the situation which is here in UK currently and which is in Russia, for example. And I'm not judging anyone. However, here many companies also suffer, like many companies in Russia suffer, like small businesses. What the government does, they made a special government scheme for the employers, and employers can put their employees on so-called furlough. So employees will be paid 80% of their salary, but not from the employer, but from the government. This is for the whole country. So basically, I see that I'm, for example, protected here, although I'm not a British citizen. And many of my colleagues who are put on this government scheme, they're getting money not from the employer, but the government is taking care of them. And that's why they're helping the small businesses. They basically pay salary, which employer cannot. Otherwise, all these employees will be made redundant. And in Russia is not unfortunately happening. And when you are in Russia and you can lose a job, the government will not pay you salary. That's why I think, judging by this situation,
it's very true. It's very true.
I would actually. I don't have children, but when I have children, I think they will grow here.
Can I?
Social security comes first.
Natalia, I was wondering if your husband is studying Russian because of you.
Actually, he does, but not because of me. When I met him, he already spoke some Russian, and he was taking lessons, Russian lessons, because he used to work in the Russian bank in BTB in London, and then he moved to another one. But yeah, he is very fascinated with the culture, and he loves everything what I'm cooking him at home, all the Russian soups and cuisine. Yeah.
Did you cook him Russian dumplings?
Yes, of course. I cook it myself. I cook myself.
May I ask you something?
Of course.
Yeah, it's a kind of a relative question, I think, because since you've mentioned that you went to England, like for the first time, you went there in 2014?
13.
Is it when you met your husband?
No.
Very interesting. I met him before on the 9th of March 2013 in the place which was called in St. Petersburg, Soho, by accident. And we started to write to each other, and I went to London in April 2013, and that's how everything started.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit more about that trip, like your first trip to the UK? I'm just wondering what you were doing there, and how was it? What was your impression and everything, like for the first time?
To be honest, I was fascinated by the city. I was fascinated by all this beauty about which you read and which you study while you are at the university and at school. And some things I was surprised that I didn't expect they would be like this. But to be honest, I like the city very much. And if I was thinking that if I would move there, I would be happy there. So I am at the moment. So yeah, I like London very much.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Natalia, can I ask you?
Of course.
Was it your first trip to London, abroad?
Not abroad, but to London. In 2013 to London.
And tell us some words about Englishmen in comparison with Russian.
Who is better? Yes.
No, to be honest, our Russian men are great, and other nationality men are great, most probably.
They just don't live in London. They are not living.
My husband is American. He's not British originally. He got his British citizenship when he got to UK. So basically, yeah, I think our cultures are quite similar. To be honest, that's what I found. I don't find too many differences, although we were grown up in different countries, but to be honest, we have a lot in common.
Thank you.
I have one question. What about living expenses? So how much do you pay every month for like water and all that stuff?
This is very expensive here, it's true. It depends in which region of London you live. If you live a little bit outside, it will be cheaper. In the center, it can be very expensive. You can find here a room at around like to share a room with somebody else and paying by 600 pounds per month, plus for electricity and for the water. But it depends. You can find a flat here for 1,500 pounds per month, your own flat. But if you want to live a little bit closer to the center, a lot of our line employees in the hotel, they share a flat. So there are, for example, 3 maids who are living in one flat, and they share the expenses. And for water, gas, and for electricity, we're paying here, like in our flat, around 200 pounds per month.
So there is gas here mostly, or electricity, like?
Mostly electricity, but in some places there is gas.
And what about living on a boat on the river? Is it expensive? No, that's true. There are some people who have like this boat homes.
They do, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how they live. Yes, I've seen them. They live on the boat, but no, I don't know how expensive it is or cheap.
The boat houses are supposed to be cheaper, and there are plenty of rivers. For example, the Oxford River that goes through London starts with Oxford County, and they have plenty of boat houses there. They are cheaper, definitely. All right.
I have a question about hospitality industry now. What's happening in England, and maybe especially with your hotel and with others? Are they open now, and what maybe like predictions for next month?
At the moment, the hotel where I work is open. However, the occupancy in comparison with annual or monthly, like for example, at this period of time last year, it would be 92% of occupancy. At the moment, it's only 13% of occupancy. However, who is living there? We have airlines, and we have doctors and nurses from the hospitals. And some other hotels which are still open in UK, they are having also some nurses and some doctors who stay there.
Natalia. And do you know, maybe like, of course it depends on the situation, but like predictions when the hotels will open again in normal way, and or it depends, of course, about like on situation.
It depends on situation. No one knows. This government scheme is prolonged till the end of June now, where they're paying people 80% of salary. However, we don't know. Most probably it will start a little bit coming back in June, most probably. But again, it depends on the whole what's going on in the world.
Natalia, I hate to ask this question, but I learned the figures, and can you repeat how many people die per day in London because of the coronavirus?
Well, recently it was last week. This week it started to descend a little bit. Last week we had 900 people per day who were dying. And the amount of deaths was more than now it's more than 16,000 people, unfortunately. But they are saying, I was reading today in Evening Standard that the peak has been in UK and now it's going to a little bit slowly down. But we're still in lockdown, and lockdown is for the time being till the 7th of May, but I strongly believe it will be prolonged.
I believe Irina Ganiyarova had a question.
Yes, yes, Natalia, I would ask you, how do you think, is it a good option, for example, to go to London by touristic visa, and at that time to find some job, to get some arrangement about job, and after that to back to Russia, for example, and to wait a work visa? From how do you think? Maybe you know some persons who has this experience.
I tried this myself. It didn't work in my case. I tried it in 2014 when I came there and tried to look for a job. Unfortunately, did not manage. However, a friend of mine who came here and she managed to find a real estate agency, a Russian one, and they were interested in her, and they made for her a working visa, and then she managed to stay. However, again, it's like a chance in one, I don't know, you have to get a chance, you have to be lucky as well, and to try your best. You can try, of course. In my experience, didn't work, but in some other experiences, it can work.
I think maybe it's good in some case, for example, if you want to try this city, this country, is it good for you? Because when you have never been in this country, you can't understand, you can't realize by online interview, by yes, maybe you will get good offer, but you can't.
You have to be in the country, yes, because you need to understand London, how it works. You need to understand the market as well. And no one will just hire you. You need to know how it works in terms of everything, in terms of legislation, in terms of the market itself, of the industry where you would like to work. Yeah, you have to be there for some time at least to learn the city.
Okay, thanks.
Question. It's about interfering into someone's privacy. Like, what are the relations between neighbors, between co-workers? So, do you have some limits, like comparing to Russia, or not to interfere in communication?
If you are not telling yourself about your private life, no one will be asking and insisting on this. Only if you start to be very close together, you work very close and there is a trust, then yes, you can say something about your family. But again, no one will be telling a lot about their personal life. Plus, it's very, they're very accurately giving, for example, compliments. If in Russia you will hear very often compliments and what is your age and so on, in UK, no, they would not do it, because otherwise you can think of something like you're going too far in this. So they're very accurate in questions.
And what about neighbors, like where you live? What are the relations between you and other neighbors? Like, do you make friends or not?
We are not making friends, but we are very kind to each other. So if there is a parcel for somebody, and for example, somebody is not at home, I can get a parcel and can give it to my neighbor, or they can do the same for me. Or for example, one guy who is next to us, he sent all of us letters saying like, guys, if you're in self-isolation, let me know and I will help. I will bring you some food, or I will take a garbage out. So they're very kind, very nice relationship among each other.
Thanks.
People here, actually, there are quite a few people who are homeless on the streets, but British like so much people, so they come, they speak with homeless people. They would buy them food, not only just giving money, but they would go to the shop, buy them food, bring them food. They're all about charity and trying to do as much as possible of good things towards each other and towards others.
Okay, then I have another question, because you said about homeless. What about some dangerous districts or suburb areas where, for example, you're better not to go because it can be dangerous, or like...
I know the answer, Russia.
No, for example, I can compare again. I'm asking it because in some other countries there are different experiences, and there are some like districts where it's better not to go for people of maybe higher income level. And what about London? Is it the same there?
Well, outside, in the areas outside of the center of London, most probably there are some not very good areas, not very recommendable to be at night, for example. But I hear here all the time that London is very safe, and what I see here in the evenings, I see that it is. I feel safe myself here, but I would never go to different areas which I don't know, to be honest. But I feel myself safe to go around the streets, and I usually walk around center of London, not very far away.
Lucian Croydon.
Natasha, do you have many zombies on the streets? Because we have some.
Sorry, which zones?
Zombies already from coronavirus. Do you have many of them?
Artyom is gently pulling your leg, I believe.
No, I haven't
Kidding.
heard about this yet.
Yes. If I'm allowed to answer Susan's question, Susan, you won't believe it, but when we were on a tour in London back, and I believe it was 2012 or something, I was in the downtown. I was using my tablet as a map, and some guys on the bicycles, they took this tablet and they rode their bikes away. I was not ready to follow them, and they called the police, and then 5 minutes the police car came. They said they were sorry, but there are many cases like that, and people steal from the people, from the tourists. They rob them. Technically speaking, there was a robbery. I wasn't hit, luckily, but I lost my tablet. So if you are tourist, careless tourist, you will be punished for this. So just take care of yourself and your personal belongings, and you will be fine. Right, Natalia?
Absolutely. I think like in every big city, something like this can happen. And like in every big city, you need to be very careful, because in London, there are 9 million people who are living. So yes, it's a very big city. So just be careful.
I have one question. Okay. The first ladies, of course.
I have a bit more positive question. Do you like socializing in London? Let's forget about coronavirus. I've been in London this autumn, and I was wondering that every Friday, Friday and Saturday, they go to some restaurants, especially bars
Pubs.
and pubs. Yes. And I would like to ask, would you like their lifestyle free? And even in one restaurant, I see that they are going with little baby child. And it doesn't matter for them that maybe it's not comfortable for their child, but they are going, socializing is the first for them. And what about you? I know, as I understand, you have experience in living you live in St. Petersburg. It is big city too. Sochi maybe is not so big, but London is very dynamic city, like maybe more than Moscow, I would say. And what about your view on it? Do you like it? Or maybe for them, my friend, they lived in London about 2 years now. They have a baby child, and they left London, and because it is very noisy and dynamic city. What about your view on this? What's your point on it?
At this point of my life, I still like very dynamic life. I start my work at the hotel at 7:30 in the morning every day, because the life here starts very early. So I have to wake up around 5:30, but I like it. I enjoy it. I like all this dynamic. And yes, the culture here, a lot about pubs. And you can see not only Friday and Saturday, you can see already on Thursday and even Wednesday, people are drinking in pubs and not even inside. They go outside if the weather is very nice, and they would be drinking even outside of the pubs. This is the way how they become close with their colleagues, and this is the way how they socialize with their colleagues. To be honest, I don't mind as soon as you're not drinking every single day. But on Fridays, we used to go, all our colleagues from work, and we also could have a glass of wine, or they could have a pint of beer. Yes, it's like it's a culture here. I don't mind, because you become more close like this with people. It's true. On Sundays, for example, there is a tradition of Sunday roast, when you, that's a special dish, but it's become like a tradition where you go like a family or the friends to the special place where they know how to cook this Sunday roast. And basically it's also like a brunch. You come, you have a drink, and you eat this this meal, which is also, I think it's quite nice actually. The culture of going out is very high here. So you go out very often. Yes, I do cook at home, but during weekends or sometimes when we want to meet with friends, we would rather go outside, because people here don't go from one house to another house so often as we do in Russia. So here, more people meeting in the restaurants, in the cafes, or in the pubs.
Yes. And I'm curious, you are a boss in any way, and you go to bars with your colleagues, and your work relationship are not going worse by this way, no?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. It helps. I'm not going to become drunk there with them. I have a glass of wine, or have like they have a glass of beer, and that's it. It just breaks sometimes the ice between people and between colleagues. That's it.
Thank you.
I have again one question. What about having any kind of psychologist or a coach at the hotel where you work? Or what about like this experience of having such specialists in any company in London, in England?
We don't have any psychologist. We don't have any coach. No, the only well, we don't have even our internal trainer there. We don't have. So basically, what we are doing is, when we want to grow a person, we try to find trainings for him, and also give him individual coaching lessons with the person who's professional in this. And this person already grows the person professionally, but nothing psychologically. Or maybe I know what you mean. I think it's very popular in United States, I would say. But
yeah,
here, no.
Yeah.
Here, no. I never heard about this, or never saw it.
Because in Russia, instead of psychologists, we have friends, good friends, and British have pubs.
Or bartenders.
Americans don't have pubs, don't have friends, real friends.
Can I have this another question? Oh, sorry, Leonid.
You forgot about me. Sorry. Can
No,
I ask?
I keep silent. Sorry.
It happens when you're too polite.
Sorry, I want to ask about. Did you met very angry people in London? Maybe, I mean, like you go to work by bus, maybe by subway, and you have met very angry people, like in Russia. In this case, did it happen with you? Maybe sometimes in London.
Very angry people who would be beating somebody on the street, or who would
Yeah,
be.
of course. They could push you in transport, maybe
Not
they
polite. He's trying
not
to say
polite.
not polite.
My
Yes.
experience, I never saw anyone who would be angry towards myself, for example. I saw a few times, I would say, during my almost 2 years here, I saw 2 times when people were arguing on the street between each other, but that's it. I did not see anything, no.
I think it's a good job, policy, good job only.
Yeah, we at work, for example, there might be conflict. We can be a little bit in conflict with each other, but you try to understand each other's point of view and come to the normal compromise, or to the conclusion. I would put it this way. but no one is shouting, closing the doors, like, and going away and being angry, and no.
All right, time for the final question. Would like to ask?
Natalia, can I ask you about cultural life in London? Because you lived in St. Petersburg, you have a good example for comparing. Do you visit theaters, music halls, museums? What is your favorite?
Oh, I love culture here because, first of all, if not even go to the museums, London itself is already like a museum with all these streets, which are very famous, with beautiful facades of the buildings, because they don't ruin the facades of the buildings. Every house, they have the old from Victorian style, for example, facades. So it's very beautiful. Plus, they preserve their culture. They take care of their culture. So, for example, you can go to the pub, the same pub, where you will see actually the molding or the wooden work, which was even done before the war. So they really take care of this. Plus, they take care of their traditions. For example, today is the birthday of Queen. She turned 94 years old. And she is on the throne already, if I'm not mistaken, around 64 years.
67.
And, sorry?
Almost 67, if I'm not mistaken.
67, yeah, most probably, yeah, you're right. Here, if there wouldn't be coronavirus, there would be a huge celebration of your birthday as well, which is a beautiful tradition every year. And museums here are also very interesting. Most of them are free of charge. But if there are exhibitions in the museums, where I go very regularly, you can buy a membership to the museum. Like, for example, I have a membership to Victoria and Albert Museum. And when they brought Dior exhibition, it was just fantastic. The first time I spent 4 hours there, because it was a proper exhibition with many rooms, with music, with different ways how they show the history as well. It's beautiful, it's fantastic. The heritage here, cultural heritage, is very, very big, and you can't during one trip to London see everything, 100% not, because every museum is unique. And for example, I like Charles Dickens Museum. Also, I didn't visit it during my first trip to London, obviously, but I visited it when I was not working, when I moved here in 2018. Sherlock Holmes Museum, Tat Modern, like, it's beautiful places. Yeah.
And so many amazing as well.
There are so many musicals. I've seen so many musicals here. And actually, I've been to the Russian ballet as well. When the Russian ballet was here, it was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just an idea of the Queen. We posted this postcard to her as our birthday greeting postcard last year, right? She is with us.
Andrew, did you paint in this?
No, there's a group of very talented
posing.
artists. Their name is You Feel My Skill. They're very popular around Sochi, and they painted quite a lot of these graffitis all around. All right, okay. Natalia, I believe we are through with the questions, and now it's very important time to pick the winner. Are you ready? Natalia, do you think you can pick
Oh my
one
God, there are
winner?
so many winners actually here. I think it will be quite challenging.
Okay, no problem. Why don't you think while you're thinking, I'll do a little announcement. So please do not forget that our next meeting will be as interesting as this one. We have a very good friend. His name is Kirill Lemich, and he has a story to share. He's a brilliant speaker, journalist, businessman. He has got everything. And why did he marry? How he managed to find a lady who will steal his heart and actually marry him. It's very interesting, not only for ladies, but for men only. So please do not miss this opportunity. Next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. He speaks with the Birmingham accent. If you like people who speak like Peaky Blinders, so you're welcome, and he will entertain you. He's a funny man. All right. Now, did you make up your mind, Natalia? Who is?
Well, to be honest, there were many active participants, and I would like to make winners, many of them. But I think one of the main very active participants was and is, I think, Julia.
Julia, wow. And Julia is awarded with the free tour. Julia, are you with us? Yes. Julia, are you here?
I'm here.
Yes, pick up. Yes, okay. So when next time you plan to go to London, ask for the contact information. I will send you. Please contact me. I will send Natalia's contact information. And he's the proper person to have as a friend in London. You are very lucky to have a
I
new
hope
friend.
this Corona thing is over soon and I can travel again.
All right.
If you think now, coronavirus is died.
Thank you very much. I think it's not a compliment, you know.
Right. Okay. And I'm going to pick the winner on behalf of the language school. And I'm going to give all this security or safety set to Leonid. He was very active tonight, so you know where to find us. I'm going to give you a set of rubber gloves, a respirator, and the sanitizer, all for your safety, okay?
Yeah, okay.
We have two lucky winners, all right?
Yeah, thank you very much.
In next year, it's too expensive right now to give it away.
Look, he's walking on the street without a mask. You've made the wrong choice, I guess. He's a very negligent person indeed.
He's not afraid of coronavirus.
No.
He's not afraid of anything.
He doesn't care about safety at all.
It's allowed. If you are in open air, you don't have to wear a mask. But if you go with a lot of people, you communicate, so you'd better put on mask. So he's not that bad.
That he's
no
forgiven.
people around.
It's so common
Unless you want them to be ill, you know.
Not kiss anybody on the street, Leonid. Just
Who wants
stay
to
away.
be ill?
It's called ill intent.
Right. Okay, Natalia, well, thank you. Once again, you've proven to be our most charming speaker. We love you. We enjoy every minute of your time. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for answering your questions. I believe everybody had a night that will be remembered forever, especially those who won, right? Natalia?
Thank you so much. It was a big pleasure to meet all of you, and I wish everyone a beautiful evening, and I hope to see all of you in London.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And your English was very good before you moved to London.
and for you, Natalia, very funny giraffe from Sochi. Do you hear this?
Oh, oh, so beautiful.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, dear friends.
Bye-bye,
I'll see you.
everyone.
See you.